Well, this pesky little storm called Hurricane Matthew started brewing from the south, and they did the mandatory evacuation.
The forecast for tomorrow is waves of 20 to 25 feet on the island. Need to evacuate immediately, as there will be no emergency response tomorrow.
My wife is home, and both of us is up in age, and she's home by herself, but he said I still can't go back over there. You know, she's home alone. I'm worried about my wife.
When Hurricane Matthew hit St. Simon's Island off the coast of Georgia, a restoration crew came to the aid of as many people in need as they could.
The kids and I are going to miss the tree so much. It is going to be missed dearly because that's not something you can just replace. You know, that's I would say 100 years or more than that.
While extreme weather events are a nightmare for residents around the Georgia area, for local restoration company owner Luke, they are a welcome business opportunity. Luke and his son, Harris, always keep an eye on what the weather is doing on the horizon.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. The National Hurricane Center says Hurricane Matthew is only a little more than 200 miles away from West Palm Beach, Florida. The storm has top sustained winds of 125 miles per hour, and forecasters warn it could get stronger. Florida Governor Rick Scott is urging more people along the coast to get to safety now. The Hurricane Center says the outer bands of Matthew are approaching Florida. The storm has already killed at least 16 people in the Caribbean. Damage reports are starting to come in from Haiti, and they suggest wreckage is catastrophic.
We're getting in hurricane season. It's real. And I felt like this year was going to be a year that we'd have a hurricane hit nearby.
Thinking if it's bad, we'll go.
Here at Black Dog Restoration, we gear up by putting teams together that may have to deploy, because we may call you last minute and we may have to pack up and go. If it's bad, we'll go, for sure. I just don't know what it's going to do.
Deal has declared a state of emergency.
So that whole area, he's declared a state of emergency. They're going to probably evacuate folks. I can, to a certain extent, predict the weather. I have kind of a sense about it, I guess because I've been doing this so long. I'm not a weatherman, but you kind of know when things are coming.
A flash flood watch has also been issued for eastern and southern parts of the state, and that includes...
We'll see.
It's 5:30.
All right. We'll see. Time will tell.
Taking a crew on the road is a big decision for this small business. So Luke took his son and General Manager Leif out on a fishing trip to chew the fat.
Leif,
Like, put that freaking pole away.
put the lure down. What are you doing
I've got one
back
in the water
there
just
back?
like you
You
guys.
got two poles back there.
I got one right in front of me like you guys.
Fish on means there's a damn fish on.
I like fishing with Luke and Harris. You have to be thick-skinned and kind of not listen to them, but yeah, I enjoy it.
I wanted to go fishing, figured it would be easy to talk to Leif about going down and working on Hurricane Matthew if it hits over a fishing trip rather than sitting in a meeting talking about how much work we got and how we're gonna get it done. Leif, you got any thoughts about me taking some folks down to the coast?
I didn't really want the guys and Luke to go to Hurricane Matthew. Great to help people and all that kind of stuff, but you know, when I have half the people I need to do the same amount of work here, it's really stressful. And we've had situations before where they go to these hurricanes and doesn't turn out like we expect. No places to stay, don't really get a lot of work. So I was real apprehensive about them leaving. I hate when you guys go out of town because that's when we get strapped for people and work here. We may be slow, and then as soon as you leave, we'll get too many jobs to handle at home.
Yeah, but it could be a good opportunity.
My relationship with Luke is like, he's the impulsive, fly by the seat of his pants, just, hey, I got an idea, let's just go with it. And I'm more of the slow, hey, let's consider everything and take it easy. He's type A, I'm type B, however that is. I try to be the more calm one. Are we required to do it? Do we have to?
No, we don't have to do anything.
But you want to, again?
We don't have to work. I mean, I kind of do, just because it's on the coast. I mean, you're talking a 1 in a 100-year event. It's not that I go down there just to give out labor and that's it. I mean, that is one of the things we do, but we go down there and make money. What's cash flow look like? Crap?
Yeah, it's always strapped.
I mean, what if I took, like, myself and, like, 4 people, maybe?
I'll definitely go.
Harris, you want to go?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that'd be fine, I guess. So I didn't go with them because Luke is the type to go out and run a gun, talk to people, get to work, start going, just boom, 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 down through these houses that have been damaged. And I'd rather stay here, and I need to stay here to kind of keep things running smooth. Luke is really good at working natural disasters.
So me, Harris, Brett, Ashley, Andy?
Yeah. Sounds good, I guess.
Will that strap you?
No, not with as long as I've got David and Jesus to take call and Janet to help me with fires and all, that should be fine.
Well, let's tentatively plan on it then, and then just watch it. Thought we definitely need to discuss it on a fishing trip.
Yeah, that's enough business.
It's the best way to clear your mind and make good decisions.
Now, he's still kicking. You want me to drop him? Okay.
If I knew I wouldn't catch a single fish, I'd still rather go fishing than go to work.
Harris caught the biggest fish, but I caught the most fish, and my strategy worked. We're going in the morning meeting today, and I'm going to tell the guys, that we are going to go to do the disaster work for Hurricane Matthew and who's going to go. So, Andy, Brett, Harris, Luke, who else? Ashley, are going.
I wanted my son to go, and he volunteers. I wanted that to happen so that I could go down there and we could experience the thing together.
Tools, regular work uniforms, and then maybe rubber boots, anything like that you guys have.
We'll discuss all that in the meeting. We need to know who's going, who's staying, what we're gonna have to do to prepare, because we got to get the stuff together and, get the show on the road.
So as far as we know now, it's Category 4, which that'll blow the siding off the house, take the roof off the house. Like, that's pretty much it. So it's Category 4 rolling up the side of the east side of Florida. And there's also rumors of it looping back around.
Yeah.
I don't know about storm surge or anything like that. I mean, I don't know if water is going to be up in these houses.
Trying to get there during the event is just like Ashley was saying, it's really difficult because the roads are blocked and emergency crews are there. So you have to give it some time, but you gotta have somewhere to stay.
Don't worry, I've got all the accommodations made. Pack your lucky underwear.
All right, that's it. I'm done.
All right.
Off to go chase some hurricanes. I had to drive the black dog truck because it's kind of our main truck that we took down there. Had pretty much all our supplies, all our water, all our tools. Ashley drove a big truck as well, and Andy drove one with a truck mount, and Luke hauled a generator. Doing hurricane work, you never know what you're going to get into, but it's kind of a hit or miss type deal. I mean, you can do really well, or you can go down there and spend a lot of money and do bad.
There's power outages as far inland as 3 hours inland from St. Simon's Island. So I expect it to take a while to get down there.
As the crew motored to St. Simon's Island, Leif discovered online that the hurricane had intensified.
I'm Jay Wiggins. I'm the director of the Glenn County Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency here in Glenn County. We're looking at an unprecedented event here in our community. There is a train coming down the coast, and that is a storm called Matthew. We have activated our Emergency Operations Center. We're doing everything we can to deal with it, but we need the help of the public. People need to evacuate. I'm begging people to evacuate. This could be a catastrophic event. Life lost, injuries, And there's a way to avoid that. If people will just evacuate, if they will go west and go inland, we're going to start seeing deteriorating conditions. Starting tomorrow, it may be too late. Once we see the onset of tropical storm force winds, 40 to 50 miles per hour, our public safety folks are not going to be able to respond. There will come a time that you may call 911 and nobody is going to come, and you're going to be on your own. So please, if I can ask one thing, please take this seriously and evacuate.
When the hurricane had passed, the crew arrived in Brunswick deflated.
We're here. No power, except on our generators and looters here and there.
Get to the hotel and there's no power. We're kind of all sitting outside disappointed. Luke's a little angry. First thing to do is just find something to eat so we can get ready.
I wish I could build some excitement, but I really don't know what I can say. I guess we'll go eat at the BP.
It's also about 88, somewhere around that, 88 degrees, outside as well as inside. We're only at the very beginning of our adventure, and it's already become a miserable kind of trip. We feel like we're working and we haven't even started working yet. We're up at about 6 a.m., about to drive to closer to, it's almost on St. Simon's Island, but we can't get on the island yet because they're not letting people on the island at all. The police show up and they are starting to get people to line up in a single file line.
We're ready to get in the line, and they told us when to file in, and everybody's cranked up and ready to go, and we're still here.
Our contact on the island tells us, no, don't get in the line. They're saying that we can't take you onto the island.
Everybody went but us, so we're the outsiders, and we get to stay here and wait and not really do much of anything. We've got stuff they need. I mean, they need our help, but we can't get on the island, so it's frustrating. I don't know how long we'll be here. Other than that, I ain't got a whole lot to say. I'm paying my people, and I can't do work. Very frustrated right now.
Luke and his crew were not the only people frustrated by the situation. Even St. Simon's residents couldn't get onto the island.
My name is Jeff Lane. I'm a resident of St. Simon's Island here in Georgia. Well, this pesky little storm called Hurricane Matthew started brewing from the south, and they did the mandatory evacuation of our area.
Forecast for tomorrow with winds of 20 to 25 feet on the island. Need to evacuate immediately, as there will be no emergency response tomorrow.
We had to leave starting last Thursday, and some of us left then, some of us were hoping for the best, and we waited until a little bit later. My family, we left on Friday morning, headed west about 180 miles, and we have been displaced ever since. We just want to go and check on our properties, check on our lives, you know, find out what's going on.
My name is Clifton M. Green Sr. Me and my wife stayed at home on St. Simon Island for the storm. The storm was long, so we used our cell phone, and that all went out. It got to be recharged. And the only way I could get it recharged is come over into Brunswick. And when I got finished and getting ready to go back home, they said I can go over there. And I explained to the man, my wife is home, and both of us is up in age, and she's home by herself, but he said I still can go back over there. No, she's home alone. But I'm not really worried about myself. I'm worried about my wife, getting back over there, be with her.
We're all just sitting here, and we really don't know what to do or where to go, or we're just kind of waiting on a phone call at this point. And then all of a sudden, we got an escort from the State Patrol with the lights on. And so it was the Georgia State Patrol in the front with his lights on, and our 5 vehicles, and then another Georgia State Patrol with the lights on behind us. So we got a police escort onto the island. One thing we did have that helped us a tremendous amount, we had 2 tow-behind generators. These are generators that are big enough to power up a motel, and they needed them. They needed them bad. So we're finally on the island. All my vehicles, all my people, we're there. Everything that you would expect from a hurricane is present. There are trees down everywhere. There's not a yard without trees down in it. There's not a road without trees on the side of the road. And it's as bad as anything I've ever seen, especially on St. Simon's Island.
Driving into a hurricane-ravaged area is kind of eerie. It's like you start to see the trees down, you see power lines going across the road, traffic's being diverted.
It's pretty devastating to see all of it. There's a lot of damage, you know, a lot of disaster areas, a lot of areas that are gonna need help and need work. There's a tremendous amount of work we gotta do.
Finally, the crew could get to work after an insurance company booked them to remove a fallen tree from the McDonald's residence, while the family was still off the island.
So when we got to the McDonald residence, we walked around the back to see where the tree was, and at this point the homeowner was not home.
And then I'll jump up there and I'll cut, and then y'all can, any limbs that you see around here that you can be getting out, let's just get them out of the way and maybe start a pile somewhere. I walk in the backyard and come around the corner of the McDonald house, and I see this massive tree, like the whole top of the tree and halfway down is on the house. It looked like 20 trees in a big giant ball over there on the side of the house and on the roof of the house. It was huge. I mean, the root ball, I'm reaching up. I'm almost at 8 feet at the tip of my finger, so that's 8, and then you go up about another 5 feet, so that's 13. But you gotta realize that's the dead center of the tree. So if the root ball was all the way up on the ground, you're probably looking at a 20-foot root ball. The tree was probably 40 feet tall. Several limbs at the house, went through the decking, broke some rafters. We've got about between 5 and 10 holes in the roof, so we're trimming this thing back, trying to keep it as safe as possible, try to protect the house from further damage. We're gonna trim, and work our way back in there so it's all safe. I felt like first we should start clearing out the smaller stuff. You know, what they want us to do is just get it off the house, get the house where it's safe, get the house where it's not gonna get wet if it rains. The ultimate goal is to protect the property. Still got some 20 to 25 mile an hour gusts today, so being on the roof is a little bit uneasy, but you know, we're doing what we can, but trying to, at this point, get it protected from any further damage, and then let the insurance company come do their assessment.
All right, well, maybe we can move this trampoline back and dome over there.
All right. You can get hurt cutting a tree quicker than you can get hurt doing a bunch of other stuff that seems dangerous. All right, first limb down, it's gonna be this right here, all right? So I'm looking at the safety issues, hanging limbs, loose limbs, limbs with pressure. So there's all these little factors you have to consider on each individual cut. You methodically cut each cut every time.
Tree work is very difficult. You gotta watch out for your surroundings. You don't want it to fall on anybody. You gotta watch out for everyone around you. Dealing with chainsaws, obviously, you gotta watch out for that. They can be dangerous, and you just have to be smart. That comes down to the main deal, is just being smart with what you're working with. Luke kind of took over. I guess he had a plan in his head how he wanted it all to go down, and he would just start cutting and we'd start throwing them in a pile and just tell us what to do.
I was making sure that all of the things that Luke cut down were out of the way. At one point, I was even pulling the rope to make sure the tree came the right way so it didn't do any more extra damage to the house.
Trying to get the blade out. All right. You're talking about something that one piece of the limbs that drops and hits somebody will kill them.
We just need to get him to cut it right here.
Pull down on this.
It's too big, Dad. It's big right there.
With the trunk of the tree stripped of its branches, it was time for the most ominous part of the job for Luke.
This ain't the best daggum way up here.
Don't fall.
I'm not planning on it.
On the second day of the job, Mrs. McDonald arrived back on the island, and Luke brought her up to speed.
When you handle this, and I think, these two slopes definitely would have to be replaced, and some decking up here too. So the inside crack in your ceiling, I think, is from the jar just hitting so hard because it's such a big tree. I mean, I don't know how old that tree is. I'd say 100 years old. I mean, looks like a red oak to me. I mean, it's a heck of a tree.
Yeah, we're going to miss it.
I bet it gave you
provided
some-
privacy and shade,
yeah.
and we had the surfer swing hanging from it, and
I expect it gave you a lot of shade and a lot of privacy.
Well, we evacuated last Thursday morning, very early, in watching Hurricane Matthew come very close to the coast, and we were worried about the damage that it could possibly have on the island. So we evacuated Thursday. We've been gone 5 nights before we were allowed back on the island. We are very fortunate the tree did not hit a larger part of the house, because it could have essentially just destroyed the house and cut straight through. We're very lucky it just hit my bedroom window, broke the window, and did damage that way and some on the roof. I can't be more grateful that it wasn't worse than it did and that it fell in that direction.
And I don't know if, as far as kids and safety and all that kind of stuff, I would just be a little bit leery about them being in the thick of it over here. The big part of it, it's not gonna move without a crane, so I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, I climbed up, my last cut, I was above, you see that knot right here?
Right.
And when I was sitting there, it didn't move when it fell, so it's pretty stable. But some of the other limbs, I mean, until they're actually, cut good and into little pieces, I try to keep them out of it. Although I think I see one over there.
Oh, we have a peeker?
I think so. He's in the thick of it.
Here comes someone.
Actually, that's probably okay, other than getting a little bit of...
Yeah.
That's probably okay. Playing on the stump is probably fine. I mean, it's just not gonna go anywhere.
When the tree is removed, we should do something there. I know we can't just replace it with another tree of that size, but possibly put the root ball down and make something cool out of the stump, whether it's a table or something. I hate to lose everything from it. I'd like to be creative and think of something fun we could do with it.
Throw it down to you, son!
On the next edition of Master of Disaster, tempers flare at the McDonald's residence, and flood damage tests Luke's patience. Hurricane Matthew caused colossal damage on St. Simon's Island.
That's a big mess.
The tree that fell took off the front porch.
It even jarred so hard, you've got up on that corner right there. You see where it popped it loose? That's a lick.
And we weren't home, and I'm so glad, because I would have been working probably right there.
And Luke took his trade to new heights.
The Hurricane Center says the outer bands of Matthew are approaching Florida. The storm has already killed at least 16 people in the Caribbean. Damage reports are starting to come in from Haiti, and they suggest wreckage is catastrophic.
If you need to evacuate and you haven't, evacuate. This storm will kill you. Time is running out. We don't have that much time left.
In the wake of Hurricane Matthew, the Black Dog restoration crew had been busy on St. Simon's Island, dealing with an array of disasters, from fallen trees to flood damage. While traveling around the island, Luke and his crew came upon two women in need.
We were riding around and found a couple of elderly ladies out working in the yard on a tree that was way more than they could handle. I mean, they're trying to move sticks and limbs and things of that nature, and it's a pine tree. I guess at the base it was probably about like this.
My name is Wanda Satterfield. We have lived on this island for 42 years. We were under mandatory evacuation on Thursday, and we were allowed back in on the island on Tuesday around 11 o'clock. Mom and I were out cleaning the front yard up and getting everything over to where the county would pick up our trash. Black Dog Restoration came by and asked if he could assist us, and we graciously said, "Thank you so much."
We didn't feel like they needed to be working on it. The daughter, who was elderly herself, had a mother who was probably, I think she said her mother was upper 80s, and then her dad was 90 and he was in the hospital, and they needed to take care of that. We just offered to do the work, no charge to anybody, just to help them out. And they were pretty happy about that.
When we came home, there were two complete trees down in the front yard. One was on our property laying down flat. The other one, unfortunately, was completely on its side, and the branches appeared to have completely flattened the neighbor's porch and went in through her front plate window. She is the priest to the Episcopal church that's right behind our backyard. That is the parish home.
They were concerned because it was their tree and it fell on the pastor's house. They felt obligated to take care of it, and I mean, it was like it fell into her living room.
The local pastor, Ms. Johnson, arrived home later that afternoon and invited Luke in to inspect her property.
Welcome to the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This is home.
So
isn't this exciting?
It is. That's a big mess.
The tree that fell took off the front porch, but it did not break the windows. It did not break the door. It did not break the door frame.
So what
and
happened?
A separate limb came off and just came straight down.
Will that get you off of work for a little while?
No, no. Churches expect a sermon every Sunday. You know, it's kind of, this is very regular thing.
She actually said that she was going out of the house, about to leave, and at last moment she thought, I'm gonna get those pictures I've got right there on my desk.
The interesting thing for me is right on this end of the desk, there were 3 photographs of one of my husband and me and the children when we early got married, then of the 2 couples, our daughter with her husband and our son with his wife, sitting right there on the edge of the desk. And I had walked almost out of the room, and I came back in and picked up those 3 pictures and took them with me. I don't know why. I don't know why. But I took those 3 pictures, and no, I couldn't.
It even jarred so hard. You've got up on that corner right there. Do you see where it popped it loose? That's a lick.
Yeah. And we weren't home, and I'm so glad, because I would have been working probably right there. You have no idea. To be able to walk out my front door, thank you. That is such a gift. And the really interesting thing, that's the church right there. Not one thing hurt.
Oh, wow.
Nothing.
One of the things I thought was really, neat, because I've experienced it before, was that she asked me to actually come back in the house. I talked to her for a little while, and she asked me back in. I came back in, and she wanted to show me where she was working again and point out to me that she had a study Bible and a regular Bible there, and that, you know, all the water came through, poured through her roof, and the tree came through, and everything was in disarray. I mean, right below that desk is a rug that's soaking wet. There wasn't a drop of water or a single bit of damage to either one of the Bibles. And I've run into that in fires where Bibles will be in a room that got scorched, and they look like they've just been, they look like they were untouched.
When I came in to check on the desk, this is my working desk.
Right.
There were 2 Bibles, not a drop on either of them. In between and under and around and, you know, through all of that, not a drop of water.
Right under the hole.
Right under the hole.
22, almost 23 years of doing this, I've seen probably between 5 and 10 instances where a house would be like, this room literally would be charred, and the Bible would be intact. People look at you funny when you tell them things like that, but I mean, I believe every ounce of it. I've seen it. Well, that's a good story. I love hearing stories like that, for sure. Love hearing them and love telling them.
Yep.
People kind of look at you and, really? I'm like, seriously, here it is. I'll show it to you. Kind of gives you chills. I mean, it was so believable for me because I've seen it before. It was, for somebody who'd never heard that before, I would think they would like, you know, kind of, you know, give them chills or goosebumps. To me, it's just really neat to hear somebody else say that because I believe it, I know it happens, I've seen it happen. And it's remarkable because it should be just like all the rest of the stuff in the room and ripped and torn or water damaged or at least in disarray. She said they were, you know, perfect. It's certainly a mess. You know, as far as like what needs to be done and things of that nature, and here, like I said, we're just literally here to help you out. I know you've got some guys that are coming to look at the inside and things like that, but if you want us to get some of this stuff out, I mean, like this is, it's actually wet.
It is very wet. What I understand,
to grab some of it out and put it in the debris pile
what
for
I
you,
understand is that the whole ceiling's got to come down, obviously.
I think that's
that
accurate.
whole sheetrock on the front wall is very wet. It's all got to come down.
Because it's insulated.
The entire floor has got to come up all the way down the hall.
I just want you to know, since we're here, if you want us to, we'll scoop up some of this stuff, give you a little bit clearer path to walk on. But if you want us to leave the insulation alone, we can grab the drywall out of your way at least.
Now, unless you're mad at, I mean, I'm armed for the insulation. Let's leave that. On this whole island, nobody got hurt, nobody died. In this eternal scheme of things, fixed. In the eternal scheme of things, people matter.
It's just, yeah,
So,
this is drywall,
you know.
wood, nails, hammers, labor.
That's right.
It'll be okay.
It will
and
be.
you knowing that, you know, being a pastor especially, I mean.
God's in charge. God is always in charge.
We don't have anything to say.
People are protected.
Yeah.
We are fine.
We don't have a
We
say
are
in all
fine.
this. It's not our timing.
Nope. But y'all are very special to come down and do this for us, for all of
we're
us.
glad to do it. Glad to do it.
The restoration crew got busy clearing the tree from Ms. Johnson's house out of the goodness of their hearts before the repair crew could arrive.
What we did was take the tree off of her front porch, off the rest of her house, and out of her yard, put all the limbs at the road. We cut it all the way down to the last little piece that was attached to the stump.
I was working there with the crew plus Jason. I think this is when Jason was starting to help with the logging. He's a friend of Luke's in his Bible study group who needed to make extra money.
I think we just got that column there because that one's holding nothing. It wiggles.
Have we got a sledgehammer? Hey, have we got a sledgehammer?
And so he was down there working, and he ended up being my roommate at the house we stayed at, too. And he was very, you know, a very, very nice guy, very mild-mannered guy. And we ended up, I was working with him on the third day, as a matter of fact, getting the equipment from the resort. And I said, you know what, Jason, since I've been around you so much the past few days, I feel like I've known you for about 3 years. That kind of a thing. So, you know, that was pretty interesting. I made myself a friend.
We got to get this one out before you drop that.
I do feel like there's a sense of a bond with the folks I work with. Yes, we will give each other a hard time all the time. You gotta have a thick skin. About the end of the day, you know, you got each other's back, that kind of a thing. And when you've worked around folks long enough, you don't have to say anything about what needs to be done. They just do it, and you know what's going to happen, what's taking place, and it gets executed every single time.
There's a button right here. Press it. It'll help with compression. What? It'll compression release button. That? Yeah.
A tree itself, one that size, could easily weigh 15,000 pounds. And you got to watch what you're doing and be aware at all times of what's falling, what's over your head. Stay clear. Somebody's cutting above you or trying to pull a limb down. You wait until that limb is down to go over there, and it's safe. Last thing we need is somebody with a broken neck or a broken arm or shoulder, who God knows what else happened.
Anything that we can stick.
Everybody had a good attitude doing it. Everybody's happy to be doing it. If they make a claim on it or anything like that for the insurance, I just told them donate the money to the church. So it was just us kind of helping somebody that needed help. Well, I'm glad you're okay. And I'm
Thank
glad
you,
we
so
could
are
help.
we.
I mean,
oh, you have no idea. To be able to walk out my front door, thank you. That is,
we're glad to do it.
that is such a gift. Y'all are very special to come down and do this for us, for all of us.
We're glad to do it. Glad to do it. Well, if anything else comes up while you're here and while we're here, just track us down,
Thank
holler
you.
at us, throw a rock at us. We can.
Thank you.
And if
I
you,
truly appreciate it.
Oh, glad to help.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Matthew, Luke and his restoration crew trucked their way to a flood-damaged house on the coast of St. Simon's Island.
We're heading out to the Farrier House, which is out on a creek which feeds to a river which feeds to the ocean. Kind of a marshy area, but a really nice area. Mr. Farrier is a local attorney in Brunswick.
My name is Joe Farrier. I've been living here for about 21 years. Made us move out on a mandatory evacuation on Thursday.
The forecast for tomorrow is waves of 20 to 25 feet on the island. Need to evacuate immediately, as there will be no emergency response tomorrow.
And so I didn't get back home and let me back to my house until Tuesday. I need some expertise to help me make sure I get placed back whole as I was before this hurricane came through. Everybody's doing the best they can do, and my damage is not near as bad as other homes in my neighborhood, so I've been fortunate.
We started looking around to see what, the damage was and the scope was. Looks like a storm surge came up underneath the house. A lot of insulation's out. Somewhere about in here. The storm surge, in my opinion, was probably about 8 feet. I based it on what I saw inside the crawl space, and that was on the sides of the block, because it came all the way up here. That's a pretty good drop. That post right there is still wet.
Local friend and neighbor Jimmy would take charge of the fit-out of the house once Luke had made it watertight and dry.
The friend of the homeowner here is gonna be fixing all the insulation, replacing a lot of it where it's come down. So the crawl space he's gonna be handling. In the main level of the house, there was a leak in the kitchen area, up in the ceiling, and then in the living room area where water poured in and actually blew a door open upstairs, and it was able to get rain in there. It came in, got on the subfloor, wet the carpet and the pad, went into the other room, same thing there. It's from an upstairs balcony. So when you come home, I don't want you to have any surprises. We'll scrape that just so it's not flakes flying around in the air. And then the tile is wet about over to right here, midpoint of this window. So we'll tint that, and we're gonna push dry air into it. If you got flood insurance, that should be something they take care of, and I've taken pictures of it. Good. So that'd be something, Jimmy can handle that.
I've got flood insurance, and I made them made you aware of it.
We'll also have a couple of air movers pointed up at the ceiling to help dry that, and a couple in there on those two spots there. Upstairs, we'll put a dehumidifier in each room and 2 fans blowing on that wet spot. We'll pull the carpet back, but not out. Okay. We'll remove the pad and then all Jimmy will have to do is come put a new piece of pad in there and then tuck the carpet back in and give it a good cleaning, and it should be fine. I am gonna get on your roof and check it. If I see any holes or anything like that, we'll patch them.
Well, I do appreciate it.
Well, thanks for letting us in the house and everything, and if you think of anything, just give me a holler.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Just get these fans.
Going straight up on it.
Line them up the way they had them, turn the dinghy back on. Grab my meter, get a couple of readings, take pictures of the plastic up of this, take pictures of the readings on that spot right there, and the readings on this DU.
Brett, Dad, Cy, and I showed up at the Farrier house, and he had damage on his main floor to the ceiling, the walls, some of the hardwood flooring.
The other thing is, too, I mean, you can put, we can put weighted stuff. It'll still do the same thing, but we'll need to tape, some of the areas for sure. I thought we would literally cut out a couple of pieces of paper and tape on the drywall face, but when I reached up in there, it would just crumble in my hands. It was pulling straight down. It was saturated, probably 40 square feet, something like that was just saturated. I just pulled it right down. If we'd have left it up there, it would have molded, and so we needed to get it down. It's just pulling right out. It's so wet. It wound up being more than I thought, but as I tore it out, I kept finding more and more that was wet. Went all the way over there.
Just all the way across the whole ceiling, please.
Saturated. That whole piece is saturated wet. Oh, that's interesting. Did you see the light? It's got water beads on it.
Yeah.
I'll take a picture of that.
Having tradesmen and their equipment in the house for days on end took some getting used to for Mr. Farrier.
Some days better than others. Depends on who's in the house. I'm familiar with the humidifiers and the air blowers and the inconvenience I'm fixing to go through every night when I come in here. And it heats the house up too, but that's part of the process.
I'd get all this stuff right here out, move it over into here, and then take that corner out, because it'll be the worst corner, and pull it back, get out the wet pad, take some pictures, and then get a dehue and some fans on it. And just pull it back from that corner, because that's touch a little bit better. So pull that out, and then take out what's wet of the pad, take pictures of the wet subfloor, and then put 2 fans, 1 dehue. He came in, got on the subfloor, wet the carpet and the pad, and so we pulled that back, pulled out the pad, went into the other room, same thing there. It's from an upstairs balcony, and we pulled out some carpet and pad there and put in a couple of air movers and a dehumidifier. The wind, blew the door open up, or 2 doors upstairs. Water came in and then came down through the floor and into the ceiling of the kitchen. When we got there, there was a dog there, and I guess everybody says sorry about the dog, but I don't care because I like dogs, and most everybody on my crew does. And it was a little bulldog.
Well, he's actually my son's bulldog. We call him Champ, but he's from the other line, and he was born deaf. My son actually got home from the Marines, so we felt like he needed to have another pet. And so my daughter bought it for him, get it to him for his birthday. And now that he stays here with me, so I've kind of taken a liking to him myself.
He was deaf, and they had taught him sign language, but I didn't know the sign language that they had taught him. But so I'd beat on the ground or vibrate the ground or something like that. But once he'd come over there, I was on my hands and knees putting plastic down, and he wouldn't leave me alone. He kept pawing at me, wanting me to play, and so I'd turn him over on his back and rubbing his belly, and then he'd play with me a little bit more. But he was a cool little pup. But I don't mind that kind of thing.
With all structural work done, It would now take days before the house could be declared dry. So Luke took the opportunity to go to work on the roof.
Of course, this is a fairly large house, about 50, 60 foot on the top of the roof. And so we got out one of the windows and went up on the roof. It's pretty steep. It's pretty good ways up there. A little bit nervous, but it wasn't too bad. We patched probably 6 areas up there where shingles have been blown off. We put felt on those. It blew the part of the ridge off of here. It blew the very corner off over here. I was just trying to figure out a way to. And then right at the end, I climbed up. We got a ladder up there, and I put it up against the chimney.
Steady as hell.
Okay, I'll probably throw it over it. I'll probably get the right fold on it.
You want
and I'm gonna throw it over.
Felt or that over?
And I'm gonna lay on the tarp. Is it? Ooh, that's hot. Got a mighty damn. And I climbed up that, and I had to lay over that and tack it in the backside because the chimney, the flue cap that's on top of the chimney had blown off.
Dad had to climb up on top of the flue, put a tarp over that, and nail it in. And that was definitely a very sketchy situation.
That's the highest I have ever been in St. Simon's Island. I mean, you could see for miles. You know, people call this down here in the South God's country. That's what they're talking about, that view from up there. When you patch up a roof and you're about to get down and you're looking out across all that, you kind of get fired up. So I don't jump around all the roofs like that, but I felt pretty good up there.
On the next edition of Master of Disaster, Luke meets his match.
Too big for me to be cutting it with that little chainsaw and nothing but my tennis shoes, so we'll wait on the bucket trucks to get here.
Luke was working against the clock when a giant tree looked destined to crush a house.
The way it's sitting now on top of a window, you've got a window header going across there. Well, when you get to the window itself, you've got an opening this wide. You don't have anything. It'll go straight through that window. It's in a perfect position now to not go any further, but it's also in a perfect position. If it goes a little further, it could come all the way through and just center that hole of the window, and it could go. So that window's probably 4 feet tall. It could go 4 feet lower. 4 feet lower right there is gonna be about $200,000 more in damage all day long.
Hurricane Matthew blew through St. Simon's Island with devastating results. First responders were left to pick up the pieces, and homeowners were left to assess the damage done.
Down here for the coming home celebration, after Matthew, the whole community comes together, and we pretty much, since we've been back here, most everybody that is able is helping somebody else. You know, I spent all day yesterday after we got home cutting neighbors' trees down and getting them out of their yards with the chainsaw, and then I had to work on mine. So.
Black Dog Restoration business owner Luke had brought his crew to St. Simon's Island to give assistance to homeowners affected by the hurricane.
We got to tarp that for sure. We'll go around, check everything out, but we got to tarp that. And we need to check on the inside too, see if anything's wet. I think we got a 1, 2, 3, 4 garage code or something. What a hurricane does and what it's capable of doing, I mean, it's a lot of different things because it can produce tornadoes, it can produce storms that have lightning, a tremendous amount of rain, a tremendous amount of wind, tidal surges depending on where, I mean, so there's a lot of different factors, but what we commonly see and hear versus what we actually encounter when we get there are sometimes two different things. A lot of people, when they think hurricane, they think flooded rooms, flooded basements, water this high up on the walls everywhere, and that's not necessarily from all hurricanes. It can happen, but what that normally comes from is from the rain causing the water to rise in rivers or big lakes, or you get tidal surge with a lot of rain and wind. But the majority of what we see when we come in is heavy winds with the rain, blowing over trees, blowing shingles off our roofs, blowing debris all over the place, knocking tin roofs off, blowing signs down, red lights knocked off the power lines down, power outages. That's what you see when you come into it. And when we come in, it's after the hurricane has passed, so we see a lot of trees on houses. The ground gets saturated with water, the root system is no longer adequate to hold the tree up, and you've got anywhere from 40-mile-an-hour winds up to 140, and people don't realize it, but a 40-mile-an-hour gust can blow a tree over. If a tree's got a wet root ball and a wet root system and it's nothing's holding it, 40 miles an hour is a lot of wind, and it can blow it over onto a house. 140 is a different story. 55-mile-an-hour winds will blow shingles off a roof with nothing else going on, just that much wind. So it gives you an idea. Tell her to come here and find Luke. We'll be here.
Among the wake of Hurricane Matthew's damage on St. Simon's Island, Luke was asked to help out at the McCluskey residence.
And then she's got her friend coming over that'll let us in so we can see what's going on inside. Start on it like we start on everything. And get it to where we can tarp it, where if it rains, it won't hurt anything on the inside. I'll sit right here and watch y'all. The McCluskey call came from a local friend of mine from Athens.
Are you Luke?
I'm Luke.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm
This is
Chuck.
Chess.
Hey, Chuck, Luke Smith. I never
okay.
thought I would be working on somebody's house from Athens, because we're from there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we came down to help the local company, and Chris Lizard, who is their insurance agent, is one of my best friends.
Oh, really?
And he wanted to know if we could to take care of them. And that's kind of the way it is back home. I mean, people call us up and say, hey, can you handle this? And we just handle it. So I, of course, said yes, and I thought it was, somewhat coincidental that we were down here in St. Simon's and somebody from Athens had a place that was insured up here. I talked to her about that.
While Mrs. McCluskey was still stranded off the island, her neighborly friends were alarmed that looters had already broken into the property.
We had a break-in too, right?
She told me, and I actually inspected that window over there while I was on the phone with her, and there's a piece of glass like that at the bottom.
Exactly, Luke, and I said to her...
I wouldn't have crawled through it if I was trying to get in and rescue something.
We're not sure, but when you go, have you been around the back?
I walked in the backyard, but I didn't look.
There was somebody that had a key.
You want to go in and have a look?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's go. Let's go this way, Mary.
But it's done with you, Not when you see from the inside what
and that window, you can see it's out of the house. I mean, the frame is. I'd be scared to jump through that. That's the dead smell. It's terrible.
You know what? You should have brought a flashlight.
That's all right. I got it.
You go.
And the TV in front of it was
You can see the equipment's all taken apart.
But all of this, like, look at this. That was a pot that she had. I haven't touched the thing.
Yeah, this will be the stuff. This will be that. You probably got some prints on it. Some of that.
Well, and that's why.
But she said it took clothes.
Oh, wait till you.
I don't get that. So yeah, if somebody come through there, I mean, that would have been rough coming through there. That's the same window. Nah, they wouldn't have come through there. Not with that tree right there. Clothes, I don't get. You can go get clothes. Surely somebody came and got something and they're gonna tell her, hey, I came and got it. And there's other TVs. I mean, every other place has got a TV.
Every TV is here except the big one.
Here we go.
That's what it is.
Oh no! That's how they got in.
That's it.
Son of a gun.
That's it.
I didn't even notice that.
So they had to get in through this store.
Yeah. Yeah.
They would have had to get in
They
through
had to have a way to get in.
Oh, that knob's on back.
Oh!
The knob's on back.
You're a shoot.
Yeah, it's very intentional
You should go into criminal investigation. I'm telling you.
criminal restoration. Yeah.
Criminal restoration. But luckily they went that way.
With the mystery solved, Luke turned his mind back to his day job, restoration. He knew that an arborist would be required to remove the tree on the corner of the house.
Mystery solved.
But you'll see.
Well, I've got the guys that are one street over are going to come assess it. We can handle this part, the big part here, just getting it back off the house. They've got a bucket, and I would love for them to come over and get the big part off for us. And we're just going to basically work on the limbs down here, get them out of the way. Then we're going to work on limbs over the garage.
When we got there, I personally just went ahead and grabbed a chainsaw and started cutting some of the smaller limbs off, pretty much what we could handle at the time, and we just got all that off the ground and threw it in a big pile.
I need to clear some of these out.
Yeah.
A little bit. There was two large pine trees, probably around 70 years old, somewhere in there, but that's a big pine. One was completely on the garage door and above it on the house, and it was an L-style ranch house. Cut that one again. Holy smokes, all right. And then on the other corner, there's another tree that had fallen on the corner of the house, going across the ridge of the roof over towards the garage. Both trees are huge. That one actually, from day 1 to day 2 and to day 3, it was moving down because it was so heavy. So we started working.
You're about to pull a whole bunch of it. I can give you an apple.
He found some water where the tree was there, and he just couldn't stay out of it. It got real muddy.
All right, don't play fetch. These trees all around here had so much water from the rain that when they fell over, these big holes that it left where the root ball was, they'd be soaked, full of water. And so Si jumped in there. It looks like a pond to him. He got in there and got soaking wet, and so that was interesting. We're waiting on the McCluskeys to come down from Athens, but we worked day 1, got the left tree, or the one on the garage, off completely, tarped it off, cleaned the majority of that mess up. I'm cutting that and I'm done for today. Oh. I'm gonna cut it right here, Ed. That's good for today. That's about all the fun I can have in 1 sitting.
On the second day at the McCluskey residence, Luke and his restoration crew went to work clearing out the trunk of the pine tree that had fallen on the garage.
So I can prove I can do it. That's a slice of life, fellas. Place it under the log so we can move onward. No log. It's all the way through. I want to get it tight. Just get a log and hit it. If you can swing this hammer in, you'd be the strongest man in the world. Go get some of that hand cleaner.
Yeah, I would say I'm pretty strong. It's kind of just natural. I've never really worked out or anything, just happens.
And he's got a hammer.
The limbs on that one, when we cut them off, they're really heavy. We didn't cut them too small, so they're all pretty huge. So I would just grab them up and just manhandle them all the way to the pile and just throw them in there. Yeah, I would say I probably carried the heaviest ones. I let the other guys take care of the little stuff so they wouldn't struggle too much.
They didn't have any power because the power lines were taken down by that same tree, so knowing they needed a new meter mast, we cut all those trees, those limbs out, called an electrician, got the electrician over so he could put a mast up. He did that. That's the only way you can get power company to hook up your powers if you've had an electrician. So we did that, let them know we had it. And the power company came back and hooked it up. Actually, not the day they got there, but the next day.
Done, it's done. We got some new meter mast right there, waiting on some power. So we're in good shape now. They've said the refrigerator smells like crap. They're going to have to get rid of all the food, but they'll have power. And you're hit the hammer.
With the tree in the driveway chopped up and cleared, Luke's attention was drawn to the larger tree that was tenuously balancing on the corner of the house.
This thing's dropped probably about a few inches since yesterday. I think it's probably dropped a foot since the first day. The tree, I can see it now. You can't see it from over there, but I can see it now. The tree has a turn to the left. So it's falling that way on the rest of the house for sure. Don't really know. I don't know if I can get up there. Wind blowing's not a good thing either. It's getting worse. And every time the wind blows, it's probably cracking and creaking. It ain't nowhere to be hanging out, I can tell you that. I don't mind climbing up on it, but I don't weigh but 1.5, so it ain't gonna matter if I'm on it. It may be 20,000 pounds. That's a lot, 10 tons. It's big. Too big for me to be cutting it with that little chainsaw and nothing but my tennis shoes, so we'll wait on the bucket trucks to get here. I just hope it doesn't do any more damage. But with the wind, there's a good chance it will. I'd expect to see the stucco fall off next, and that window's about to pop out as it is. Not much we can do with a tarp for that. We gotta get the tree off. The other tree's cleared now. It's cleared the driveway, so they're in good shape, you know, until they get a stump man out here. I don't know any stump men around here. I only know one. He's a basic carpenter. The city leaf and limb pickup will come get all this stuff off the street, but it'll probably be several weeks because they got this much debris at probably about 60–70% of the homes, or at least some debris, and they normally don't. One street usually will have a couple of limbs, and that's it. It may be a month before they get down here and get all this up. But yeah, they'll get this up. They won't do anything with that. You have to get a crane to take the whole thing away, or you ought to grind up the stump, or either cut it off far enough to where the stump will, the root ball will sit back in the hole, and then grind the stump down, or you can dig it out. You have to have a big piece of equipment to do it, and you fill the hole in with regular dirt and then re-sod or lay grass. The window's about to pop out. It's got a lot of pressure on it. It's already racked, which means it's twisted and it's not fully square, and that's just from the pressure on it. I mean, nothing's holding it. I mean, the way the tree was on the window would just crush, so the framing is what's holding it. If it gets to the window, it's going to go through the window. That's kind of what concerns me is you look at the framing inside the house, and the way it's sitting now on top of a window, you've got a window header going across there. Well, when you get to the window itself, you've got an opening this wide. You don't have anything. It'll go straight through that window. That's kind of what I'm concerned about. I think that's why it's moving. I mean, it's in a perfect position now to not go any further, but it's also in a perfect position. If it goes a little further, it could come all the way through and just center that hole of the window, and it could go. So that window's probably 4 feet tall. It could go 4 feet lower. 4 feet lower right there is going to be about $200,000 more in damage all day long. We've already got 2 tree people we've talked to that say they'll come as quick as they can. First one that gets here, gets the job. They get this tree off, we can get it tarped off and boarded up and secured for any further damage. But until that tree comes off, we can't do a whole lot else except drive by and just, check it out, make sure it hadn't fallen through further. Y'all want to get another wedge and put up on there? Cut some more logs? Me either. It's about enough of this for a day.
Harris, put my hammer in the truck.
For 2 days. Just save your hammer. Leave that thing out here.
On the third and final day of the McCluskey job, Luke was relieved to have an arborist on site.
Now, he's a certified arborist, a young guy, upper 20s probably, and pretty interesting character. Pretty funny guy, fast talker, but a very interesting guy.
You learn from doing. It's like a lot of skills, man. Hands-on experience, training, watching other men do it, watching people make mistakes. You learn by mistakes. Experience isn't cheap, man. You gotta buy it. You buy it in blood, sweat, tears, and money at some point in time. Just be safe, dude. That's the only thing I know. That's really the true factor of all of this, man. I think I was cutting down trees long before I knew anything about cutting down trees. I started on paper farming, I didn't know how to do it. They gave me my climbing gear, and they said, okay, what you gotta do is go up there, call limbs off, and then we're gonna cut the tree down. I said, I don't even know how to, okay. Put all that on like the dude next to me and got started. He's going up there, I gotta go up there too. So, and then it was the only idea is not to die. Not to die. Every tree form I'm on, everybody always talks about being safe. Everyone talks about safety. Don't hurt yourself, don't hurt nobody. Yeah, trees. Yeah, trees. Live and living color. The limbs are supporting top of the tree. The log is still suspended. However, in this situation, yeah, I'm not gonna have that necessarily. You always have a gravity pressure point. You always have, gravity never doesn't show up to work. You're always gonna have, and not only that, if you have a limb that's bent, you cut from the bottom, it's gonna pop. Never cut trees from a ladder. Tree's top heavy, the soil's wet, heavy winds, tall tree, heavy top, tree's gonna fall. Hurricane, that's how it goes. It's a living organism, man. It only stands so long. You can only beat up so many things for so long. You get beat up, you get beat up. This tree got beat up. That tree got beat up. Soft ground. Got a ditch, holds water. Got soft ground. That's what happened. Strong wind will blow it. This tree didn't fail on technical terms. This tree didn't fail. Nature won. How old is this pine tree? 70? 75? They don't live. I mean, people be like, oh, got a 700-year-old tree. No, you don't. No. Most of the time, trees only live. I mean, big water oaks get to in their 90s. Live oaks can get old if they take care of them. Pine trees, they grow up tall, straight, fast. Some of them will last a long time, but yeah, 70 years. That's not too old. Some of your smaller trees don't live as long. Drake elms are shorter lifespans. Some trees have longer lifespans than others. But like I said, this tree didn't die. This tree got beat up by nature. This Mother Nature did that. The tree was doing its own thing. It has one wound on it, but that doesn't hurt the tree. The tree just got uprooted. Always look at, anytime you see broken sap, it's something that just hurt it. I mean, anytime you see sap drying on the side of a tree. Let's see, there you go. That's a big wound. I don't know how that one didn't break. You want to talk about one that should have failed catastrophically? It should have been that one. Look at the cancer section. That one's all buckling up. That one's, I don't know how that one's standing.
On the next edition of Master of Disaster, Owen rides the trunk to the ground. And Mrs. McCluskey arrives home.
And I know it's going to be okay. I know it will. But just feel, you know.
At Mrs. Clemens' property, it was time to add the finishing touches to the rebuild.
The construction crew have been great. The staff has been wonderful. They call me ahead of time and let me know they're coming, and that way I can unlock and so forth. Very professional. It's been a good experience.
Unfortunately for local subcontractors Jonathan and Jason, some of the cabinets were damaged on arrival.
Let's see if we can repair it. Let's take the door off.
All right.
Yeah, let's take the door off and see if we can get it on see if we can get it to
Phillips Smith.
I could find something wrong with one in every 10 to 15 boxes. I mean, I could find something wrong with it. And a lot of times it's something that we're able to touch up, or is something like a factory defect that, you know, they'll end up replacing.
Then there's that other 1 or 2% where we might damage a product on a cabinet. You know, maybe drill a hole in the wrong spot on the drawer, or scratch the front of a box while you're unboxing it with a knife, you know. It happens.
Screws are still in the bottom too.
I was probably 12 years old. First job I went on was picking up shingles with my dad, you know, just making a few dollars during the summer. So I've been in the business for a pretty good while. So probably about 35 years old, probably about 25 years, if you count it. Second generation, you know.
About 18 years, but similar, you know, scenario. Pretty much all my adult life, that's pretty much what I've done.
Jonathan and Jason regularly work together and help out Black Dog Restoration when they are undermanned.
There it goes. We help out sometimes if they need us. We try to stay away from that demolition and, you know, dirt.
We've helped out on a few bigger jobs that was time sensitive.
Installation at Clements was really simple. just slam the cabinet in there and get out of there. It takes more time breaking out the tools, setting up, than it did to do that little job. But
I agree. Maybe I can avoid shooting my finger again.
Man,
that'd be nice.
I hate to laugh at you when you do it, but
I didn't feel a thing. It all happened so quick. I've shot my fingers together with a nail gun. Couldn't trim together. It's tedious, and just the nail curved instead of going straight and right through my finger. Didn't really feel it. Just I've never really been hurt too bad on a job.
I hurt myself all the time. Every day I'm getting new nicks or cuts or something. I had this old boy I used to work with, man. He'd come up behind me with a nail gun, right up to the back of my shoe.
Shot your shoe down.
Shoot my dang foot to the floor. One time in particular, I can remember, was doing some trim, putting in the windowsill, and I was holding the windowsill down, and I had a nail gun, 2-inch nails, 2.5-inch nails. I was shooting the windowsill down. All right, well, apparently one of the nails hit a framing nail in the wood, and it curled back up, and it right into the bone right there at the palm of my hand. But I had to kind of pull it off and wipe the blood off. But I'm always been accident prone. It's not me if I'm not getting hurt daily. I don't know what it is. It's unlucky.
We'll see if we can get something to match when we go up there. I'm sure I'll hear from Rob by then.
Let's cut these and let's go shopping.
All right. I like to sit around the house. I like to, my time off, I'll take my kids to the lake. I'll go hunting or fishing or hang out with some friends,
He grills like every day. I mean, he's always grilling. Good cook.
Try to.
Yeah, good cook.
Good steak or chicken or, anything, but steak would be my favorite, for sure.
I don't invite a lot of people out, but I enjoy, cooking for my family. I like barbecue chicken because it takes a good while to cook chicken right, drink a few beers, catch a little buzz or whatever, grilling out.
With the work nearing completion, Mrs. Clemens was pleased with the decision she had made throughout the journey.
We're going to do whatever we can today.
Gotcha.
Get you wrapped up.
Well, I just think that's a grand idea. I've been the designer. I picked out the flooring. I knew that I wanted the wood grain flooring rather than carpet. So they brought samples, and I picked out what I liked. And I've changed the colors on the walls. I think that's all the major changes. Everything else has just been replaced and upgraded a little bit. Could we maybe build this up a little bit?
We'll have to.
Like
we'll have
that?
to. Well, not that high, but we'll have to build it up.
Yeah, okay.
About 3/4 to maybe an inch.
That would be okay, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would think, yeah. I enjoy putting together nice kitchens. I enjoy that, seeing it finished, seeing all the pieces go together right, and ending up with a nice finished kitchen. And trim, that's my favorite part of it is the finished side of things and seeing it done, seeing the homeowner happy with it, that makes it all worthwhile.
97. White knobs. She said white knobs. Just
Yes,
something.
Yeah, that's fine.
Small.
Doesn't have to be small.
97 inches, quarter round.
This, it's like a desk. There'll be a countertop and a chair here. And it's sort of a desk or a bar for eating if you want to. But anyway, nothing's going in the hole except a chair.
What is the height on that cabinet if we get a piece of fillers? Is it 34?
35 and a half. Yeah, you do have to have an eye for design, and you got to take your time. Everything's finished product, so you got to be careful with your cuts and just get it done.
Pay attention to detail.
Yeah.
Every little detail.
What began as a disaster for Mrs. Clemens turned out to be a blessing in disguise as she considered her future.
I need some filler.
It's going to be so new and nice. I'm going to actually, instead of renting it out, I'm going to move down here and downsize from a big 3-bedroom, 2-bath, a huge kitchen, blah, 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 to the 2-bedroom apartment. And then I'm going to rent the upstairs to a couple that are about my age that are wanting a bigger space. If he approves taking this off, don't throw it away, because we might be able to use it in the other apartment. I think I feel that everything has just fallen in place, and it's just been a good experience, and that I thought I was going to completely move from this house, and now my whole plan has changed. So I think it's been a good experience. Been a good thing that happened, actually.
Well, we'll have to build it up.
You could build it up.
Build it up, yeah.
Well, that might be all right. I'm not sure. Yeah, that might be all right, don't you think?
I think so.
It was easy to find a silver lining.
With the lion's share of the work done, Mrs. Clemens was a happy homeowner once more.
We're moving forward with our renovation here.
General Manager Leif is considered the sensible guy in the Black Dog restoration team. But when Mrs. Clemens' project was almost done and dusted, a house being given away for free caught his eye when traveling back to the office.
And then we're wrapped up at Clemens, except for repairs. I've been seeing the house, you know, it's local, so every time I go that direction in town, I pass by and see the sign. It's got a big sign on the side of it that says, "Free house, you move." I have never seen anything like that before, so I thought it might be a good opportunity. It's not a normal thing to see free houses sitting on the side of the road.
Fortunately, Rob joined Leif when they went to inspect the property.
So, just thinking, if it's free, it seems like we could do something with it, you know?
What? What's the plan?
I mean, we could use it for maybe rustic furniture, like the old wood that's in the house, or maybe blow a part of it up with tannerite. I don't know.
I don't know. Because it's free?
Yeah, it's free, so why not do something with it? That's what I'm thinking.
Have you been in it yet?
No, I haven't been inside. I don't know what the walls look like, what kind of floor is in it. How hard are they to move? Can you move the whole thing?
Well, you can't move it the way it is. We'd have to cut it in sections.
Right.
And then you have to jack it up off the foundation.
Two sections?
Yeah. Well, look what it looks
or
like.
Maybe three.
You jack it up off the foundation, slide a trailer under it. It's your farm?
I don't know. Just maybe. I've thought about it. I just, it's free. How often does this come up?
Often, because people don't like to move them.
Oh. So it's nothing special. Are there, what kind of permits?
You have to get permits. You have to get police escort.
Oh, wow.
You have to put somebody on top of the roof that'll move the red lights out of the way as you go through.
Right.
I mean, it's quite involved.
To get the house ready to move, from what Rob was telling me, because I've never done that before, and you have to break it up into 2 pieces or even 3. You have to have a police escort down the road, somebody with a trailer to haul it. It has to be lifted up off the floor system or underneath the floor system, actually. So a little more than I expected would need to be done. My plan was, if it was really cheap to do, move it to our property and maybe use it for storage, or if Luke wanted parts of it, to use for rustic furniture. Those were kind of my plans for the building. I mean, the roof doesn't look too bad. Wonder how many squatters are living in there. Cheap rent. If we don't move it, if we did want to take it down, I mean, how difficult do you think that would be?
But I don't know if it's worth salvaging. We need to go inside and look at the inside and see.
Yeah, it looks pretty rough on the inside. I mean, and
it's real rough.
It's drywall, it's not wood. I initially thought I wanted it because of its age, because of the wood that might be valuable inside. It seemed to be in pretty good shape, but going down the road and actually looking at it's a lot different.
Maybe somebody to evaluate what it's actually worth.
Like a real estate agent, professional?
Yeah, because then it matters what it's worth versus what it costs to move it.
Right.
And if it's not worth what it costs to move it, then it's a bad idea.
Do you have somebody that I can call?
Yeah.
You got a number?
I do. Yeah, I can get you in touch with somebody.
Yeah, I don't know. If it's worth it, great. If not,
well, it's a crazy idea.
You just leave it. Yeah.
But
it's free.
Firewood, maybe.
So today I'm meeting Sarah, the real estate agent that Rob recommended. She's going to give me some advice on whether she thinks it's worth, tackling this project.
Hey, Leif, how are you?
Good.
It's good to see you.
So, my thoughts, I don't know if Rob went over much about it.
Not really.
Was, it's free, so taking it down and maybe using some of the old wood that's in the house for, maybe I could sell it or make rustic furniture out of it. Just maybe a barn, you know, a smaller building than what's here. Some sort of use out of it since it doesn't cost anything for the house. But then I don't know as far as permits and all that.
You've got permit, you know, issues. You've got utility issues. I saw some gas on the side of the house. That's definitely could cause you some problems. There's a reason this house is free, and it's going to cost you a lot of money to do something with it.
The first thing that Sarah told me was that I was going to have a lot of barriers to actually being able to do this as far as permits. I kind of thought asbestos, lead paint, those type of things would be an issue. Notifying the neighbors, because if it's infested with rodents or insects, you know, everybody around is going to be affected by that if the house is moved or torn down. So right off the bat, I can tell she's really apprehensive for this to be something I should do.
You have a kind of a mess on your hands with this.
Gotcha.
And I would strongly caution you to think hard about, you know, is it worth it? I'm not even sure that there's anything here you could make furniture out of.
Right, yeah, I guess we wouldn't know any of that until we started taking it apart, and by that point, you know, you're in too deep. And
yeah, I mean, I see rot. Right. You know, there's who knows, you know, what kind of mold and what you could run into with that.
She didn't give me an estimate of what she thought it would cost, but I could tell it was far more expensive than anything I would get out of the house or any use I would get out of the house.
Because someone is going to have a big mess on their hands, and I don't want it to be you.
Right, well, I appreciate that. Well, that's kind of what I needed to know, so yeah, I may move on to the next one and not deal with this, because that seems like too much for what I would get out of it. Ultimately, Sarah said it was a bad idea. After assessing the house, looking at it with Rob and Sarah, I don't want to move forward with that.
Sorry, I didn't have better news for you.
Yeah, no, that's what I wanted, to know the truth. So.
Yeah, I think that's the truth.
Yeah, we'll move on to another one.
Okay.
I appreciate you meeting me out here.
If I can help you again, let me know,
All right,
please.
Thanks. I will.
Thank you.
Among the pristine countryside of Atlanta, Georgia, the Chance family had a house flood with a difference.
My name is Kip Chance.
My name is Rachel Chance. I live with my husband Kip and our 3 kids, Kaysen, Miller, and Larkin. We've lived here almost 10 years now.
The Chance home was a little bit unique, not that we don't get jobs like this, but it was unique with respect to the type of water. It's what we call black water, sewage water, and it was actually coming out of the shower, which isn't where you want black water coming out. Well, you don't want it coming out anywhere in your house, but you definitely don't want it coming out your shower.
Total panic. Panicking so much that it was, I guess, around 6:30 when it happened. I kept calling and texting Luke over and over, trying to get him here as quickly as I could, because I wasn't sure he realized how bad it was. And I started sending him pictures, and he just kept saying, don't panic, you know, we're gonna clean it up, just let it flow, which at that point we had no choice.
I was one of the first people on the scene when the Chances first called Luke early in the morning to say, we have a disaster, come quick. And so Luke's like, Dax, get in the truck, we gotta go. So Luke and I went over there, and they literally had sewage just dripping from the ceiling into these big trash cans and coolers and bowls and everything you could possibly think of to try to make sure that stuff wasn't getting rained on. And Rachel, I don't know if you guys have talked to her yet, but she's very OCD. So, you know, having sewage in a house with an OCD person is not a good thing.
I grabbed every towel we owned, thinking that, you know, maybe I'll get some of this up. And of course, now we have no towels. I think I went through maybe 50. And he just tried to calm me down, but it was pretty hysterical around here for several hours. Well, we're not exactly sure, but according to Luke, it was sort of the perfect storm of a leak somewhere, maybe a well pump that had been running continuously, and a full septic tank.
It ruined the upstairs, the master bathroom. That entire thing is ruined. The master closet, the toilet room, the linen closet, master bedroom, Those all have to be repaired. The upstairs has hardwood. It got wet, so we've got to sand and finish all the hardwood. Then downstairs, they had a finished basement, and we had to replace drywall in the main room down there and all the carpet and walls, insulation. Air units had sewage water go through them, so we didn't want that blowing through everybody's, rooms. So that had to be replaced. And right now, the basement work is almost done, and we're working on the upstairs.
We had a sewage backup, septic backup in the middle of the night while we were sleeping, and flooded the house and flooded into the basement, and in the bedroom, and then down through the floor into the basement, and pretty much soaked half our house with sewage. Lovely to wake up to.
For category 3, didn't handle that.
We were in the bed, and Kip's feet hit the floor at about 6:30 right after his alarm went off, and he threw the lights on and just said the floor's wet, and it was Chinese fire drill after that. We assumed it was a septic tank clog, so he went out and started digging, and the first thing I did was called Luke with Black Dog Restoration. We've known him for many, many years, and I did not know what to do, so he was the first person I picked up the phone and called.
If you see any blue tape laying around, let me know. We're subject to leave it at any point in time, in any place. Kip and Rachel, or any of my friends, or even family, I want to do the best, the fastest, give them everything I can give them. And sometimes it's just that the money is there's not enough money to do that with.
So this is all salvageable, the rest of it?
This is good. So this is right here, probably about 100 feet of RB3 casing at about $1.50 a foot.
Base cap?
And cap. So we've got about $100 and something worth of materials and probably some labor that somebody's going to want to charge us that I'm not going to pay at all. Sometimes I have to dig into my own pocket to do that, which I'm accustomed to doing, but it's difficult. Family and friends are they're just difficult to deal with on jobs. This has been primed and one coated. You can see.
I'm going to text your dad and tell him to call him. Don't tell him not to do anything else.
Yeah, I don't think we want him back over here at all.
I'm Luke's father. To some degree, I'm Luke's sounding board. He doesn't always listen when the sound comes back from me, but yeah, he runs a lot of things by me if he's got questions about something and just trying to decide something to do, what to do.
All right, we're going to the Chance house this afternoon to meet with Herb. Apparently there's an issue with the tub. We got to figure out the deck mount for the tile man so that we can get the tub set in the deck. We were trying to save the tub originally, but it's not going to work out. We're going to have to replace it. And what's happening today is we're going to try to make sure we get the right template for the tub, the new tub that's coming, so the tile man can get that set.
You see it?
We have the solution to the problem. All right. What you had before where the tile came up to the edge of the tub, this was not going to work on this application anyway.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is build a box, tile it, and then have the new tub will set in the box, and then finished edge.
It'll have a rounded edge.
Exactly.
Exactly. A rough edge on tile on top of that one.
Which takes care of the problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. What color jets and faucets and all?
I believe we're going with
brush nickel or
no,
copper? Oiled copper.
Bronze, the old, is it the old copper, the oil bronze?
All bronze.
Oil bronze,
Yeah.
oil
Okay.
bronze, yeah.
Okay. Okay. We can do that. Right. Okay. Do you have any other questions for us?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Let's
All
get
right.
out of here. Having Herb here with me on the Chance job actually helps. Two heads are better than one, and we were able to bounce some ideas off each other and figure out the problem.
What they did to start was they came in and demoed or tore out all the stuff that was wet so they could get everything dried back out in order to replace.
On the next edition of Master of Disaster, the rebuild goes off course when a subcontractor's work disappoints Luke and Rob.
Is this you? Your tile work?
On the day of the flood, the house was uninhabitable for homeowners Kip and Rachel Chance.
We moved out that day. We grabbed everything we could. The kids were out pretty quickly, and then Kip and I spent most of the day here just trying to salvage what we could.
Close this up and head off.
And we are living with our in-laws currently. And all of this happened around July 8th. So we've been with them for about 9 weeks now, and it's probably going to be another couple months.
Rachel and Kip were supposed to move in with Kip's parents, and they, you know, everything was hunky-dory. Y'all come and stay with us. It's gonna be great. It'll be like, you know, the grandkids will be visiting for long term. And I hear that all the time. No, we don't need to get a temporary house. We'll just stay with our family. And it lasts about 2 weeks is when the welcome gets worn, and they've been there a good bit longer than that.
Living with my in-laws has been interesting. They're used to living with 2 people, and so they've gone from living with 2 people to 5 more that they're not used to having. And their house is big enough for all of us, but they have stuff everywhere, so we just really haven't had anywhere to put our things. We're kind of living out of suitcases still and sleeping on air mattresses, and all feel pretty uprooted. This has affected my children probably the most because they're not at home, they don't have all their things. We haven't been able to get to a lot of things, everything's in boxes. And although it could have been much worse, you know, we didn't lose nearly as much as you might with a fire. It's still just been really hard to get to anything and find anything, and they've felt very unsettled and uprooted.
And of course, this tub is going to lap over the edges because we put in a tile.
That other tile, you couldn't cut it around it and have a smooth edge.
Right.
Kip actually, he stayed at the house the majority of the time. So anyway, needless to say, the welcome was worn out, and there was a few issues there as far as I know.
Another huge challenge with this whole restoration process is my husband owns his own business and has a lot of equipment, and so he's mostly been staying here at the house while we live, the children and I live with his parents. And so some days I tell him I feel like he's on vacation because he doesn't have to deal with the kids and all their stuff, but ultimately he's living on the 3rd floor in a princess bed, in a nasty, dirty house, just to make sure that, you know, all of our things are okay and our dogs are okay and his equipment is okay, and that's been really difficult as well, just being separated.
We're calling it a forced renovation. So yes, we needed to update a few things, and we were forced to do it now instead of later, like we may have planned before.
The chemical hose, the pressure hose, the water pressure hose.
As far as sewage jobs goes, it affected several of their floors. So I would say it's a huge job. I wouldn't say it's probably the worst one that we've had, but it's definitely a huge job.
Depending on how quickly the insurance company reacts, this should be a project that lasts about 6 weeks, 8 weeks max.
Everyone is always optimistic on how long it's going to take, but I always like, you know, if someone's saying 3 months, I'm like, it's really 6 months for us to be able to fix it because it just takes longer than you think it does.
Luke initially said that he thought this job would take 2 to 3 months. Dax sort of laughed at that and said he always underestimates. She said closer to 4 to 5 months, and I think it's probably going to be 5 months, if not longer, before we get back in.
She's like, Luke said it would take 3 months, and I was like, it's going to take 6 months. She's like, I'm glad you said that because I was really thinking 3 months was going to do it. So, but yeah, they're good friends of Luke's, and I've been walking with Rachel a lot, so being able to hear her point of view from a homeowner standpoint of how things are going along, and again, because I'm a people pleaser, you know, I come back and say, okay, these are some things that we need to take care of and get this moving along.
We were going to, but they wound up coming right here. What happened was the walls were replaced from right here back.
Luke's optimistic schedule took a major blow when the work of a subcontractor he had employed was not up to standard.
That piece of picture molding that was up there, so I'm gonna take a picture of it because we need to supplement it because that was additional work. I don't.
There's no way to fix this. I mean, you can't get the stain off of that.
No, this is the color
this is the color they want. So this is all got to be trashed.
Yeah, because you can't undo stain. I mean, somebody, Dad was saying they may come out with some solvent. You can't undo stain. A couple of things. Looking at it, you got two different colors, really dark, really light, and you can see what the issue is. Even on this piece that's right, this edge right here was not wiped off. So as you apply the stain, you wipe it right back off. You get this light color right here. If you apply the stain and leave it on, this is what happens. And it won't work. This is the color we're supposed to have. So now, look at the contrast of the two. You've got one that's really dark and then one that's the right color. We did have a guy doing some tile work over there that was, he wasn't as top notch as he needed to be, and so we had to eat some of that time and money.
Do you want him to paint the walls, or I'd say just pull them off everything?
I don't want him to do anything else. Yeah. I mean, like, look at this trim right here. I mean, it can be caulked, but that's a pretty easy miter cut.
Yeah.
That's not, and then look at the difference where it sits.
Yeah, the reveal's different.
I mean, they're just, it's not what we do. It's not our quality.
Luke and the normally unflappable Rob were seething when the subcontractor arrived on site.
What about up at the top of that bullnose?
Is this you? The tile work? What why do we have tile even with backer board? Why isn't it on top of the backer board?
Well, that's the drywall at the top.
Well, I know, but it should be out even with that. Same thing applies here. I mean, I don't know how are you planning on finishing that?
The only things that have gone wrong, and I wouldn't really say they've gone wrong, but for a lot of the jobs, we've been at the mercy of subs, and so tile took 2 weeks longer than it was supposed to, and heating and air took 3 or 4 weeks longer than it was supposed to.
Herb told me there will be a frame in here all the way around.
No, there is. There's going to be a shower door. Is that what you're talking about?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. So we had a couple of situations with the chances where I had to make some executive decisions, considering the fact that they're friends, and we paired that with the fact that we were taking a little bit longer than we had originally planned, and so I made a few concessions. I think we're going to have to regroup, and that's a rough joint right there. That doesn't have any space in it. What happens is a customer doesn't see the ones that the concessions you're making or the upgrades you're doing just out of the goodness of your heart. You almost have to spell it out for them. And so I didn't do that. I just went ahead and upgraded some things for them. And then when they later asked for a couple of upgrades, I didn't want to go back and point out, well, I've already done this. So it kind of got messed up a little bit. Well, and I'm just trying to figure out at this point, what can we do to trim that out?
Grout it.
But you can't.
But it's a finished edge. You're not supposed to grout it. Yeah.
No, you're not going to run grouting now.
Yeah.
Well, what are we
going to do?
We're going to mud it.
Sheetrock
drywall mud?
And we have to cover these here, up here. These, let me see.
Yeah.
No, for one, this needs to be green or either hardy. There are a couple of problems over there with the tile. One of the issues was some inconsistencies in the grout lines. No, I know that. But you're saying you're going to fill this with gyp, with mud?
Or something harder than that so it'll break. But you can't grout that.
We're not suggesting that you grout it.
No, I don't want to grout it. I'm just saying it's not going to work. All right, let me get a couple of pictures of it.
And what are you thinking about doing about this stain out here?
Well, we got some solvent.
You're gonna try to lighten this. This got painted on and just left. That got wiped off.
Who did this? Did you do this?
No, it was my son.
Okay. Because if this color, except for like some of that, you know, those edges, but like this, you put it on, wipe it off pretty quick. You know, by the time you get a good full coat on, you come back and wipe it off. That's what get this color. This is either a different color stain or it was left on there, like painted on and left on.
It's all the same color stain.
I mean, I would assume it's the same.
Yeah, it is.
I wouldn't try to thin it. I mean, you can try it and see. I just don't think you'll get a consistent color. I don't see how.
We need to replace this.
Maybe at some point in time we can use it. Same thing on this. This stuff's dry.
Too dark.
In the corners, like right here, Victor. You see how much is in that?
Yeah, I see that.
I mean, it's just not gonna work. It has to be wiped on and wiped off to get that color. This color looks good, and that's what he wants. But that won't work with it, and that casing won't work with it either. And there's a good bit of sanding to do and cleaning to do. I gotta get my guys over here to do some of this.
Don't stain that. Just hold off on all that. And matter of fact.
Yeah, hold off until on everything until.
Okay.
Let's see what's going on upstairs.
This is fine. This is not. We got to replace it. So just hold off. Don't do anything else for now. Okay.
All right. What about the piece paint?
Until I talk to the homeowner, I don't want anything done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait till we talk to Kip, the homeowner, Kip and Rachel. I don't want to go any further till we have a discussion with them, just so everybody's on the same page.
All right.
The most challenging part of all of this has been obviously not being in our home for many weeks and the whole restoration process. I don't really enjoy picking things, and they give me too many choices. I've told Luke so many times, just give me like 3 choices. I don't want to have to pick paint and tile.
Because if he's capable, he would have already done it. I'm preserving the friendship at any risk, so. That's more important to me. You know, you can't break even on jobs and stay in business, but for this one right here, you know, they're good friends, so I'm not gonna damage that. We had a tile guy get over there and get it fixed. Looks pretty tight. Good joints and everything.
The project got back on track when Luke commissioned Steve to complete the tiling.
The door. Is it? It looks like it goes that way. The door does.
See how bad it's off?
Yep.
Look at the bottom. But grout's gonna fill in and we'll just line it up with it.
I tell you what we'll probably do. I might take that off because I want your tile to look good. Because this will make you, everybody will think it's the tile. We'll take this and why don't we replace this casing? Because I don't want, look at this tile, it looks great. I don't want it to look bad. Yeah.
And don't grout that until we get a chance to replace that, okay?
Okay, so I'll just leave the grout out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, what we'll do is we'll replace this piece. There was a couple of framing issues that had nothing to do with us, but we kind of inherited those and fixed those things as well. What happened was, whoever did it way back, they shortcut that and they just pressed that in. Yeah. So, we'll get that and get it squared back up. And the door may not be 100%. I don't know. It may not be completely level. Yeah, you can see a smaller gap and a bigger gap here. So it may be racked a tad. All right. Well, this is going to look good.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Good to see you again.
Looks good.
Yep. Tell Romy I said hey.
Okay.
All right.
With the wooden deck mount for the bathtub complete, it was the moment of truth for Jonathan and Jason.
Put my side in. Gotcha. First, so that maybe the pump will clear. Going down. Ready, one. Look at there. Plumbing even lines up. Yep. Boys are good. Yep. That'll do.
I have been extremely surprised by the cost of the repairs. so much more expensive than I thought it would be. And when you consider that you have to replace everything, light switches and, you know, just little things, door handles and towel racks and just things you don't think about that add up, it's going to be an exorbitant amount to repair the house. There were many times where I worried that we would not be able to get all this fixed, and I even asked Luke several times, can we just level it and start over? Because about 3/4 of the house was affected, and so it's, you know, it's hard to figure out how is everything going to look okay when they're done and match everything that was not ruined. So, yeah, it's been challenging to imagine everything being fixed and us being able to move back in.
I'm looking forward to seeing the bathroom renovated and changed and new tile, just a new look for the bathroom.
Have you seen it?
I've seen it.
So you know it.
While Luke was pleased with the rebuild of the entire house, he was overjoyed with the workmanship in the bathroom.
From 6x6 and replace some walls.
The bathroom was a solid surface material, and it is now all ceramic tile, high-grade tile. And what I did in their bathroom, in my opinion, and many others' opinion, it looks 10 times better. I know honestly, it's twice as expensive as the other one was.
I can't wait for you to see it.
I know, I'm excited. I think you're gonna love it. Oh, wow, it's awesome. I love it. Oh gosh, it's beautiful. I'm so excited about our new bathroom. It turned out so beautifully. The one we had before was outdated anyway, and I love the neutral colors. I love how the tile turned out. The shower is beautiful. So I feel like it's updated and fresh, and it's just gonna be so nice to move back in and live here again and, you know, have a nice, clean, new space.
And this is everything that you picked. These are the fixtures you picked.
Okay.
You sent us the old rub bronze, the sconces you picked, everything. We changed. It was a brass color, I think, before.
So good, yeah. Very outdated.
Down to the granite. The granite countertops are exactly the one you picked. I think I sent your husband and you both a picture of it, and so we were able to match it up from that.
Yeah, I love them.
And look at the size of this shower. I mean, you can have a party in here.
Oh, it's great.
This is great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
I love it.
I like how the door opens this way.
Yeah.
So we don't get wet trying to turn it on.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. Y'all did an awesome job. I love the colors and the tile and everything.
The style and everything is what you picked. Colors are what you picked. We just put it together, so it turned out great.
Y'all helped me pick though, because I don't like to make decisions.
Yeah.
So. I'm very happy with Black Dog Restoration's work. They told us everything we needed to know along the way. They helped me with all the decisions. I don't like to make decisions, and I told Luke, you know, just give me like 3 choices and let me pick one of them. And he was great about telling me, you know, if we wanted to resell what things would, you know, still make the house sellable. Not that we're gonna do that now that it's super nice again, but all along the way he helped me with all the decisions. I love the floors that we picked.
Yep.
And a new tub.
Yeah, the tub is awesome.
Okay. I'm really surprised with some of the upgrades. I love the new tub. It's much nicer than the tub we had before. The countertops were not granite before, so they're much nicer now. The shower is incredible. We can open the door now without getting soaking wet. They put the door in the right place. And the overall feel of the house is just so much nicer than it was before.
The tub is exactly the same size as the one you had.
Okay.
We had to replace it. Originally, the insurance company didn't want to pay to replace it because it wasn't damaged, and it wasn't.
Right.
But we couldn't get it out. So when it came out, it had to be cut to get out. So put a new one in.
This one's way better.
Yeah.
Can't wait to use it.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
It's beautiful. I love everything. Y'all did an awesome job.
I'm glad. It was a pleasure working for you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm glad it turned out well.
Yeah, it's
All right.
great. Thank
Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
There is absolutely a silver lining to all of this. It could have been much worse. If we had not been home, it would have most likely taken out the whole house. And I also try to compare it to a fire. I mean, there were a lot of things we could still save. So even though it was a disaster, I know that there are blessings behind it. First of all, we're getting a forced restoration, which I have needed to update this house for so long and just haven't had the energy or time, and now I'm sort of forced to, so.
To make it look a little bit better.
I'm so glad that we know Luke and that he was already in our lives and that he stepped in to do this for us. I just can't imagine using anyone else. He's such a great guy. Everybody with Black Dog that we worked with has been wonderful and amazing. So happy we don't have to move from this amazing spot. It's beautiful out here, we love it. Of course, my kids still complain that they wish we lived in a neighborhood, but one day I think they'll appreciate all this land and beauty that we have out here.
I think the best part of my job is twofold. So it has two parts. One has to do with the customer and one has to do with the team. You're the company founder, the Black Dog founder, aren't you? I couldn't do the customer part if I didn't have the team. So I've got this team of people that I'm friends with. So it's like a team, it's almost like a basketball team that you play with on high school for 4 years. You play with the same team or a traveling team or something like that. And they help me do all this stuff. And so I've got this team that does really well, and they make me look good.
That's why he wins the UFC. That's it. Feel it, Andy.
So without them, I couldn't look good. And so together, we're pleasing this customer over here. You'll be back to new before you know it. You'll be good to go. And we're doing it to get paid. It's a job. It's a career for some of us. I mean, but we're trying to make them happy.
Well, I do appreciate it.
Well, thanks for letting us in the house and everything. And if at the end of the job you make them happy, it's almost like you've won a tournament. You know, on some of these long jobs, you've worked hard day after day after day, and you keep getting another notch, and we win. So working with friends and having that tight-knit group and then pleasing the customer. Two best things about my job.
I appreciate that. If you can really do that for me.
Oh yeah, I will.